First of all, thank you, Baxter and Chelsea, for drumming everyone in. You notice a lot of the students were doing the hand motions and everything. It's kind of hard to dance in the aisles, but they were. If you don't already, there are programs available at the back on both sides. Okay, a little bit of safety moment. There's exit right there, and as you came in, and the bathrooms are to the left at the top of the stairs. If there's noisy children or whatever, maybe just take them to the back so the other people can hear and not be disturbed. Notice also that this is being live streamed, and so back there it's covering the whole front area here and about half of the audience. And the live stream link is happening right now, and then it'll be rendered over the weekend, and they will have it so that we can post it on the RAHI website page, so you can look at it there too after the fact. Notice also that there are two things happening after this. There's an ice cream social that'll happen out in the circle of the flags. We've got a couple tables that'll be set up, not a lot of chairs, but there's cement slab that you can sit on or around the area. And it's make your own ice cream, and it's pretty cool. There's also some posters just outside this door. As we go along, we'll describe it a little bit more. There were 6 students that were doing RAHI research, and there were 3 different categories. One was stellar sea lions, one was swimmer's itch, and one was postpartum depression. And there was 2 to each poster, and they will be delighted to explain it to you. They'll stand beside their poster. So, my name is Denise Wortes, and I'm the program manager of the RAHI program. I've been with it for 30 years. Greg passes me with 34 years. And the program is 36 years old this summer. That's pretty cool. I'd like to quickly introduce some people on the stage. And if Miss Debbie could come down, Debbie, wherever you are, our speaker, thank you. This would be Greg Owens, and he's the academic coordinator and the math instructor for the RAHI program. Next to him is Vice Chancellor Yvonne Peter, and next to him is our alum speaker, Ms. Debbie McKeon. And we'll hear more from them as we go through the program. Now, some people in the audience, and all I'm going to do is just ask you to stand up and give your name. This year's RAHI staff and faculty. If you could just stand and identify yourself. I know you're there. Okay, we'll start with Chelsea and Baxter.
My name is Baxter Bond. I'm originally from Tunica, and I also teach native dance.
My name is Maynard, originally from the Philippines, and I'm one of the RAHI TCs.
Liz Ross, I taught the study skills class and the karate.
Okay.
My name's Katie Crane, and I taught the writing on the lesson class.
My name is Jeremy Garrett. I'm originally from Oahu, and I was in charge of logistics and that.
My name is Isabella Ruth, and I'm from Leanida Polushkin, and I did with TCs and also RAHI TC.
John Nelson, originally from Fairbanks here and all over. Security TC.
Rosemary.
I'm Hannah Filardi. I am co-door correction with Katie, and she is wrapping up some stuff that we all need to be done in the lab, and she'll be here in a moment. And I taught yoga.
My name is Kastyn Lie. I'm originally from Fairbanks. I'm a culinary science instructor.
Brian Ellington, and I taught the 6 course.
I'm Shanae Serena from Maniac, and I'm RAHI Dorm Office TC.
I'm Angelina Hammersland. I'm from Michigan, RAHI alum, and TC originals.
I'm David Moga. I'm from Barrow. I'm a TC. I taught the Introduction to Business.
I'm Larry Duffy. I taught the chemistry and the biochemistry courses.
Tim Murphy, I taught writing 110 and reading skills.
We get everybody. That's our wonderful staff and faculty. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize any RAHI alum that are in the audience, which there might be some. Okay, just stand up and say who you are and if you're here or your village or whatever you feel comfortable doing.
She's calling you.
All right, they're the same year. Okay, let's go around. We'll start with Debbie because she's up front.
I'm Debbie McCann from Unalaska Pass, class of 92 and 93.
Good afternoon, Minnie. Class 2. 2002.
Sandy Kowalski, also has to be living in Fairbanks, 83.
Good. Yeah.
Me too.
Lori Goron from Sheepak,
2016.
Anybody else? Isn't that cool? So Sandy Kowalski, who stood up, is now the overall director of the RAHI program through the College of Rural and Community Development. And I love that a RAHI alum is now overseeing the program. So yay, Sandy. I'd also like to finally recognize, and I'm not sure how many actually in the audience because the RSVPs didn't come through, but I want to say who it is that have sponsored and partnered and donated funding to support all of these students. New York Life did for a number of years, and I don't know if anybody's here. Wells Fargo, they met with the business class and they talked about their class project that they were doing, their business plan. Alaska, they sponsored the process technology class, of which Brian is over there. And we just had an alum, Sarah, come in. Donna just came in. She's busy doing her firefighting class, but she got special permission to come. And she's also working in the dorm. We also have the Arctic Slope Community Foundation. Is Sharon or anyone in there? They've sponsored all of the slope students, 4 from Utqiagvik and 2 from Anaktuvik, and that's a huge undertaking of which we're very happy for. Boeing Corporation, they've sponsored tuition for 2 students to come. ConocoPhillips out of Anchorage sponsored 3 students with tuition. First National Bank of Alaska, did Jerry get in here in time? Jerry Walker's going to be here. He's the vice president down there, but he had a big summit meeting, so he'll slide in a little bit late. And they sponsored tuition for 4 different students. Raven Alaska gave us a discount on the airfare. Future Educators of Alaska, now known as Educators Rising. So we have Barbara and Glenda. So I got 2 here. It's awesome. And they sponsored a number of you students to come. And I know Provost Susan Heinrich was going to come. Is she here? Okay, thank you. Outgoing Provost, we will miss you so much. Thank you for coming. And she's been a very loyal supporter of the RAHI program over the years. Any other UAF faculty or legislators or anything that want to be recognized? Okay, you can be quiet. The BLAST program, we are so delighted with the partnership we've had this year. As I mentioned, the RAHI research students, BLAST funded them significantly so that they were able to match up with researchers. Each of the 2 students had a BLAST mentor, at least one, if not more, depending upon the project. And we are delighted with that. BLAST stands for, thank you. It's a 5-year funded project through the federal government, National Institutes of Health. And we are thrilled. Okay. Any more introductions? All right, now let's get on to it. How many of you know what your student did this summer? What your child did? What your cousin did? They went to school for 6 weeks. Sun, rain, smoke, 8 in the morning till 5 in the evening, 5 days a week. They went on the 5th of July, which was a university holiday. None of the buildings were open, so we had to get a hold of the police department to make sure that they were open because we don't follow the rules on the campus. We have class. They had study hall 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday, 2 hours in the evening. And then they also studied on their own outside of that. They've been pretty busy. What is RAHI? Rural Alaska Honors Institute. 36 years. It started as a concern between rural Alaska people, Alaska Natives, Alaska Federation of Natives, and the University of Alaska. And at that time, there was a lot of money from pipeline flowing in, and one of the solutions was there was a 5-prong approach. But one of the solutions was to establish the RAHI program. 36 years later, here we are, successfully educating the future leaders of Alaska. What classes did they take? College English, college math, business management, process technology, chemistry, biomedical research, reading, library science, study skills, Alaska Native dance, yoga, and karate. And as I mentioned, the RAHI research had 3 separate projects. An interesting tidbit is this summer we have 3 students whose mother or father went through the program. And we have 7 students who had a sibling that went through the program. That speaks a lot to the loyalty, not only of the program, but the support that we get. And I was going to have to stand up, but I'm not going to do that. And so let's, without further ado, get on to our next speaker, which is Vice Chancellor Yvonne Peter, who's already had a busy summer, and he's coming to support and congratulate you. So, Vice Chancellor Yvonne Peter.
Shalak Nai, Shadri Yvonne Peter, Obuchi, Shred Codes and Italy, Gata Uchi, University of Alaska Fairbanks, Vice Chancellor to go in that Dodai, Charlie Yada, Nafas Eng, and Shoitli. My name is Yvonne Peter. I originally come from the community of Arctic Village, which is about 130 miles north of here. I have now just wrapped my 4th year here at UAF as a Vice Chancellor for Rural Community and Native Education. It's been a wonderful opportunity to be here to get to see many of the wonderful programs that are offered through the institution across the state and internationally students that come to the university. One of my primary roles, though, is to support the growth of our Indigenous Studies, rural and Alaska Native students who come to the university. And so I want to start by congratulating those of you who are, I see some of you are barely staying awake. So it proves that what was just mentioned about how hard you worked and how many hours you worked is truthful. And oftentimes, actually, when I visited with past RAHI alum this last night before graduations, oftentimes they tell me, we actually didn't sleep last night. They're all shaking their heads at me. I won't have you raise your hand if that was true about you, but I want to congratulate you for getting through this program because a few reasons. One is it is a very rigorous program. You're challenged academically, you're challenged probably physically, emotionally you're growing, you're gaining professional skills of how to relate to people, you're adjusting to coming into, for many if not all of you, an urban setting and an environment that's very different than what you grew up in your family. Myself, I came, as I mentioned, from Arctic Village, which had, when I was growing up, no electricity, still has no running water, had less than 100 people when I was growing up there, and I still remember flying in on the plane into Fairbanks, and it just was like a major culture culture shock for me. And so all of you have managed to make that adjustment to a new place. And I heard just a story today that yesterday you were in the process of beginning to miss each other, even though you haven't left yet. And there's some real value in that, in those relationships that you build with each other. You heard here just in the audience some of the other alum who have maintained their friendship throughout their lifetime. And Alaska is such a small place that what you're going to find is over your life, you're going to meet and run into each other in different roles, probably different jobs and things that you have in life. And so there's so many things that were of value that's going to come out of the work that you put into making it through this program. So I want to congratulate you. And in particular, I want to encourage you to continue to have that zest for life and that inspiration and drive to go after knowledge and opportunities. I think, you know, in my reflection on what I've seen with a lot of our young people, and people in general, is when that door opens of opportunity and they see it, even if they're nervous about what it means and it's going to challenge them to grow, they decide to go after that, and that helps them then to move on and continue to develop as a person. So congratulations for making it through RAHI. I'm really glad that you chose to be here and come to the program at the Chocolate campus, as we call the campus here. And certainly hope many of you consider coming back here for one of the many wonderful programs we have at the university. We really try to have it be a really supportive space for our students that come to the institution. So congratulations on your achievement. And now turning to the audience and a little bit, I want to thank the staff and instructors of RAHI again for producing another wonderful year. I know that Denise talks about the rigor and the challenge for the students. I think maybe for many of the staff, it's a similar challenge. A few giggles from Greg. He's only been through 34 times. 34 times? Yeah. It's a challenge, right, for the staff and the faculty instructors to also put in that kind of focus during the Alaskan summer. And so we really want to thank those of you who are putting your valuable time and energy into our future leaders and students of the RAHI program. So thank you very much for that. And to the parents and supporters, thank you for encouraging and supporting your students to be here and for joining us here at the Chocolate campus for this graduation completion ceremony today of RAHI. I really hope you enjoy your time here and continue to come back and engage with UAF. We're really on a mission and a vision, as Denise mentioned, through partnerships with different Native organizations and others across the state to continue to build our programs and relationships within Alaska to build out. And right now we're on a trajectory to really become a global leader in the field of Indigenous studies. And our number one fundraising priority is to move towards building an Indigenous Studies Center up here right next to our museum in the north. And so hopefully future classes of RAHI students will get to come up and engage within that Indigenous Studies Center as well as a part of their experience here at the university. So thank you all for joining us today.
Well, as we mentioned, Greg Owens, 34 years with RAHI, from UAF as math professor, moving to Anchorage, but he's returning each summer for RAHI. So he may be living in the dorm or with his kids up here, or whatever, but I told him he needs to go back and live in the dorm. So Greg is an integral part of the program, as you'll hear him tell stories about all of these. And he always names the group each summer. So without further ado, Mr. Greg Owens.
We're working on a little Polynesian Alaskan fusion there. I started off my teaching career in the South Pacific, and there's a lot of slapping going on down there, and it kind of gets into your blood. So when it's time to get this group fired up, we go with a little clapping there, and it seems to work. Can you hear me in the back, or should I mic up? Johnny, I'm okay? We're good? I know my diminutive little voice there doesn't carry very well. Well. Congratulations and welcome, everybody else. You remind me of a Barry Manilow song when I was your age. Looks like you made it. You made it. You made it through the 6 weeks. Good job for you. I know it's a bit to chew off, bite off and chew on. Each summer, I try to name the group, and I don't know, it'd be hard to beat last summer. Last summer, I had an indulgent moment, as I am prone to do, and I called last summer Women of Mathematics, the Sisterhood of Ciphering. We had all gals in the math class, and it was so good we had to smuggle Leanida back in here as the only returning student in about 6 years. It wasn't for that reason, but it's good to have her back. And I asked her, Leanida, compare the 2 years, and you know, she's cautious and political, and she hemmed and hawed a little bit. I said, come on, which group? Now, I think she knew Daphne was going to be in the crowd, so she had to watch her tongue there a little bit. And she said, well, last summer, I spent the whole time in my room doing math. But I could see through the fake scowl on her face into her heart, and she was really trying to thank me in a very roundabout way there. But she said, you know, they're both great. She didn't really want to commit to one over the other. But this summer, I've taken another self-indulgent moment, and I'm going to call you the big move, because I'm making a big move. I don't know, but in the middle of the program, I spent several nights up till midnight hauling ellipticals and king-size beds, and then getting up at 5 o'clock and coming to work, and I was pretty cross-eyed and crazy there for a while. So, but my big move is rather physical. Yours is rather, as Yvonne said, rather life-changing. At least, hopefully, it is. Now, some of you taught me some big moves. Archie, shall we?
Oh. Yes.
This is. Okay, ready? Archie's still working on it. He's getting a little better. He doesn't quite have the facial thing. It's all about the contortions. It's a Maori thing, I think, you know. So thank you, RJ, for teaching me your big move. And Donna had a comment, not so much about a big move, but about moving big people. And we were getting ready for our trip to Denali Park and Savage River Hike, and we're behind the dorm loading up, and you know how vans have seating for three, seating for three, seating for four. And Donna stops all the people before they get in the van. Now, if you're a big person, don't sit in the back seat. And they're all like, what? And so she says it again. Big people, stay out of the back. And it's early, you know, it's 7:50 or something like that. And so finally she says, I better just act it out. So she does this. And they go, oh, okay. We'll sit in those middle three. So Donna, thank you for that. Some of you, you know, life isn't all about big moves, it's about little moves. Some of you, I enjoyed watching your little moves on the way to class in the morning. I like to go out about 7:45 with a cup of coffee, sit on that bench in front of the Brooks building, and wish you good morning, because we're all a little tired. And there was something about some of the 111 students. Olivia. You, Miss Carol, and Matea had this. Now, they're on their way to class to turn their paper in. Now, I don't know how it's going to get better if you read it on the way to class. But those two would be walking to class like this. Now, and they had no need for sidewalks. What are sidewalks for anyhow, right? And so They were little trailblazers. I always liked trailblazers. And they would walk in, you know, those little grassy bumps in front of the Brooks Building, up and down and up and down. In fact, Olivia, coffee, bagel with cream cheese, phone, and paper. Up and down, and I'm thinking, this gal's going to take a header. I'd say, Olivia, is it a good paper? Oh, pretty good. So, much to the chagrin of the UAF grounds department, there's some new trails starting out there because of our trailblazers. And, you know, it wouldn't be adolescence if we didn't talk about the heart. And there I hear. Now, I could never really make it to the labs because I teach at the same time, but I hear there were some big moves going on in the research class. Now, Leanida, when she told me why this summer might be a little better, of course, she was within earshot of you, so she was kind of working the crowd there. She said, oh, well, last summer, I had a boyfriend. I thought, wow, I don't remember that, Leanida. You know, Alex. And I'm a little, the slow-addled mind here. Well, Alex is the name of our software program where you have to master 235 topics. And so Leanida was in there the whole time. And I guess she was implying that she didn't have a boyfriend this year, but I heard from a little bird that chirped in my ear that might not be the case, but who am I to say there, Leanida? I don't. You do shock very well, Leanida. So, but you know, I have to warn you gals here. Look at the ratio. In fact, the dances here are a thing of beauty. There's so few guys. The gals have to go out and dance with each other, and then the guys just kind of sit there and think, oh, I'll go break up that. I want you, you know, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Now, it kind of reminded me of that famous Alaskan t-shirt, Alaska men. The odds are good, but the goods are odd. Well, I think we should maybe make one for RAHI men. The odds aren't very good, but at least the goods aren't very odd. So maybe the gals can fight their way through that. During convocation, I suggested 3 B's that would help you get a lot of A's, and that's what we're doing here, trying to do well in our courses. Let me give you a summary of how you did. First one, be on time. My feeling is about half of life is showing up on time. 58% of you never were tardy for a class, never missed a class. So good, you took that to heart. That's up 20% over last year. There you go, Leanida. Last year, what's up with you people? A bunch of slackers there, huh? So you were on time. Be prepared. About 80% of life is showing up on time with your stuff done. Here's how you did. This summer, you earned 366 credits. 128 of those credits, or 35%, were core credits. So they have the X after them. You have to take so many core classes to get a degree. So 35%, over a third of them were core credits. The average student earned 9.15 credits, which is tied for 6th place. Now remember, 6 weeks, 6 credits, that's considered full load. 6 weeks, 9.15 credits, that's a load and a half. So good job there. And your GPA was a very nice 3.48, which is the 6th highest. A stunning 16 or 40% of you earned all A's, or we had a boatload of A pluses. I would read the names, but it'll take too long. Why don't you 16 with straight A's please stand up and be acknowledged? Thank you. Oh, that'd be enough for now. 63% of you achieved academic honors with a grade point of 3.5 or higher. So I would say mission accomplished on the Be Prepared part, and you have honored our name, the Rural Alaska Honors Institute. So many of you earned honors, well done. With regards to your reading ability, as a group on Monday, you took the Nelson-Denny test. You have a group average of 13.71. 13th year, 7th month. That's the 4th highest on record. And you are 1 1/3 grade levels above your actual age. So your actual academic age is 12.38. You're reading at 13.71. So I want you to go back and thank your teachers and your parents, because college is all about reading. And the better you read, the easier college is. Of course, I always like to throw in the, you went up almost 3/4 of a grade level as a group. But as the research students talked about yesterday, is it statistically significant? So I had to find the p-value. Now, to quote Sadie Sands, who stood right here yesterday and pointed to the p-value, and she said, p-value is when you have two variables, and they appear to be related. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. So you have to run a p-value. And one of two things can happen. There is a real relationship between them, or as she put it, or maybe it's just, So if you're above 0.05, it could just be happenstance. Could have been a lucky day. Well, your p-value was 0.002. That means the chances of that being dumb luck were less than 2 parts in 1,000. I think we'll consider that statistically significant. The reading class under the tutelage of Mr. Tim Murphy, 10 students, went up a pretty amazing 1.8 grade levels in 6 weeks. 1.8 grade levels in 6 weeks, statistically significant at the 0.003 level. In fact, this class was so popular, we had one student who wasn't even in the class and went to the class just to read a lot and hang out with her friends. So wow, that's really what college is all about. Nice job there, Danielle. I would say you successfully completed the second B. The third B is be curious. Some of you are curious about future majors. Bree went and talked to the elementary ed folks. Yesterday she went up and talked to the folks about unmanned flight. Two divergent areas. She's curious about both. I said, how'd it go both times? She said, that sounds great. So, and she's going to have to take a big move here fairly soon and figure out which one she wants to do. Claire was curious about what it would be like to whistle. And at the Fun Olympics, we go out to Camp Bingle to hoot and holler for a couple days to get all this study stuff out of our head and remember that we're young and energetic. Well, I set up this obstacle course, and let's see. First, they had to do a hula hoop, and then they had to run down this log. And much to Kiara's chagrin, there was a layup in there, and her team was doing great.
Okay.
Apparently, not everybody in Ketchikan plays basketball. I just found that out. Because here stands RJ. The basket is right there, RJ. 4 went over the entire backboard into the woods. We had to send somebody into the woods to get him. And of course, there's a couple off the bottom of the rim, hit him, they go flying off that way. But the next station was you have to eat 2 saltine crackers and whistle a happy little tune. So I always announce it. Here are the rules. Here's what's happening. Claire says, Mr. Rons, what do you do if you can't whistle? I said, good news. You got 2 minutes to learn how. So Claire's like, how do you whistle? How do you whistle? So somehow she got through the thing. And then we're on our way to Denali, Saturday or so later. She goes, Mr. Rons, watch this. Sounded like a meadowlark. She's figured it out. Way to be curious about whistling, Claire. Good job. Here are some things I hope you learn this summer. First of all, clearly, RAHI puts you on a short leash. We're a very concentrated program. I call it intrusive intervention. If you're getting a little off the path, We get you back on the path. Stay between the mustard and the mayonnaise. You know, just stay on the road and keep driving. I think it worked pretty well. And my hope is you take that with you. You keep yourself on a short leash. If you start wandering off, you go, what do we do in RAHI? Oh, yeah, maybe this is what I should be doing. Because in college, there's a TC of some form, but they're not like us, where they're not up on your grill all the time if you're doing something wrong. So hopefully you've internalized the short leash policy. Nobody gets everything, but everybody gets something. I've learned that in many, many years of teaching and coaching and doing RAHI. So, you know, if this summer you're thinking, oh, how come I wasn't this or I wasn't that? Well, you figure out, be reflective. That's the key to success. Look in the mirror a lot, and every day you get a little bit better. You think, okay, tomorrow, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to do, you know, we had some folks who Jeremy will acknowledge tonight, the morning warriors who, you have a choice in the morning. Boy, this bed feels good. Or get up and work out and start my day. So life is full of those little moves which lead to those big moves. Don't be afraid to take the lead. When we were at Angel Rocks, I always sneak off early while you guys are fussing over pictures and bathroom, and because I think I need a head start. These old bones need to get a head start. Well, this year I made it up to the top where the two split, and then I made it across, and then up we go again, and up we go again, and I could see the group coming. It was Katie Tozier's group. And I thought, well, in an effort not to embarrass myself too much, I'm going to pull over and pretend like I'm having a Gatorade or something here, but because basically I can't talk right now, you know. So I figure, okay, they're going to catch me in about 2 minutes, and if I stand here for 2 minutes, maybe I can talk again. And it was drizzling a little bit. So Katie had a group, and they stopped. And I said, I'm done. Your time to lead. And Sydney and Kastyn and Lisa and Rosie and Katie all stood there. And I just waited. And they looked at each other. And finally, Rosie's like, let's go. And up the hill they went, and off they went. And by the end, Maynard's group passed me. I was probably the last one done. So, but good. Take the lead. Don't wait. You've got good ideas. Go put them into action. Some of you took some risks this summer. Once again, Rosie, when we did the obstacle course, and who was it? It was Bree. At the end, maybe we should do this after graduation before pictures. Get the bats out and do another round of Dizzy. Is he?
No, thank you. No.
Well, most of us have done the old camp game where you put your head on the bat and you spin 10 times really fast. And then you have to sprint about 50 yards and then touch your teammate on the relay, and off they go. Well, I thought that always works fine. You know, a few people run into the woods and some people try to run into the lake, and they all make it back. Eventually I thought, we need another challenge. RAHI's about challenging yourself. So they had those great big cable spindles that are huge, and we rolled one out. Oh, Libby, don't be shaking your head. And you know, they're about 3 feet across and about 2 feet high, and you had to go under the spool. So here's Bree. Everybody does this after Dizzy Izzy, you know. They're looking that way thinking, I'm going towards you, but they're heading over there for the woods. Bree finally gets it righted, and she's down, and she's kind of crawling through the spool. But here comes Rosie. Rosie sees a window of opportunity. Now, Bree's halfway in there. Here comes Rosie. She dives under the spool, wedges her way between Bree and the spool, and the next thing I know, Bree's like getting pushed backwards. Here comes Rosie like a little badger out of a hole, and off she goes and touches it. So, Rosie, you are one gutsy gal. That was kind of cool. Bree, sorry about that. And speaking of old bones, I was amused. We were in the van, of course, everybody's curious about how old you are. So somebody asked, and of course I always figure, well, I don't know, how old do you think I am? And Elizaveta goes, you kind of remind me of my grandmother, and she's 73, so I think you're about 73. Going, dude. But Danielle up front says, no. She was riding shotgun. She looks back, no, Greg, I think you're about 32. I said, hold that thought, young lady. Of course, she kind of missed the part where every time Denise introduces me, she said, this is Greg's 34th year of RAHI. So the math is right. Well, that's okay. You hang on to that idea. But this isn't about me. This is about you and your big moves. I think in my life, I probably made 3 big ones. First, when I was about your age. Grew up in farm country, I had pretty much 3 choices. I could go work on the farm, milk cows, bale hay, shovel manure. That one had very limited appeal to me. So I said, okay, no, that's not for me. And in our little town in Wisconsin, a battery factory had opened up. And so some of the folks were getting hired right out of high school. And a classmate of mine, who's all of 17, starts working there in January. And he's got a Pontiac Firebird, and he's going to buy a boat. And I'm thinking, that looks pretty good to me. And I thought, maybe I should, you get to that fork in the road. And you remember what Yogi Berra said about when you come to the fork in the road? Pick it up, you might need a fork. Well, there you go. I was at that fork in the road, and I'm thinking, man, Firebird and boat, that looks pretty good. But doggone it, if I didn't have parents who were teachers. And they said, oh, no, you're going to college. So off to college I go, and, kind of have to do that whole college grind. Second big move for me was August 17, 1987. I had worked for RAHI for 4 summers, and I get a cold call. Would you like to come to UAF and teach math? My wife we'd had our second child 10 days before. I'm ready to start the new school year. And I said, well, I'm intrigued. When do I need to be there? She said, your contract would start in 6 days. And I thought, whoa. So I puckered up and gave away a car and resigned from my teaching job and came to Alaska. That was a great big move. And a great move. That was a big move because here I am 31 years later, and it all worked out nicely after that. The third big move was last year. And Denise said I retired. And after RAHI, Yvonne's right. It is a bit of a pucker up for the staff as well. And so after the program, I spent some time, all those surveys you turn in, I write up stuff and program changes and blah, 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 all that stuff. And then I go fishing. I go down to the Kenai River. So I'm down in the Kenai River, and I get there, and I just want to unpack it. I just want to have a nice, quiet time, be invisible, and just eventually get some energy back and go fishing. But unbeknownst to me, that first night I get there, my wife's side of the family is having a family reunion. They have 23 people there. That's okay. So we have dinner. We're sitting out in this big, beautiful deck. And all of a sudden, out of the house comes a cake and some balloons and some presents. And oh, surprise, surprise, we're having a surprise retirement party for you and your wife. Now, my wife taught school here for 23 years, kindergarten, most of it. And boy, was she ready to retire. She would come home and tell the story. It happened again today. I said, what's that? Well, in kindergarten, they have a bathroom attached right to the classroom, so you don't have to wander the halls, and they're kind of learning the bathroom stuff at that point. And every so often, she said, yeah, I'd be teaching, and I'd hear, Mrs. Owens, and I'd look up, and there's some child with their pants down around their ankles saying, Mrs. Owens, come and wipe my bottom, please. And I said, now, how could that ever get old? So she's really ready to retire. So we're sitting there, and I'm just trying to be invisible with this plastic smile on my face, and we're getting presents and this and that. And all of a sudden, my wife says, oh, look, honey, we got a gift certificate to go out to dinner. And I thought, you're getting a little blurry. And totally unexpected, tears are just rolling down my cheeks. And I thought, I didn't feel that one coming. And, I just thought, oh, okay, I'm just so happy or whatever, And later I reflected on it and I thought, you know, it was like when I used to take my kids to the fair and put them on the merry-go-round, and then the music would stop and the merry-go-round would stop. And they'd say, Daddy, I don't want it to stop. I want to keep going. And I thought, that's kind of me. Kind of that selfish old me thinking, this has been a good ride. I got some gas in the tank. I like driving. Let's stay on the road. So I took a little time off and was back here teaching and back here at RAHI. And, you know, really, I'm an abuser. I abuse you and I soak up your energy, and that keeps me young and energetic, and I appreciate that. But your moves, it's all about your moves and how you're going to make all those little moves to get the big move. You know, and even if you take one path and you think, you know, like I retired, didn't feel so great, back up and maybe take the other path. Jelly's mom, RAHI 1997. Teacher in Tanana, she's taught in Galena, right? And she decided, so now she's in her late 30s. She decided, I think I'm going to do med school. And so she's starting med school in the fall in the WAMI program. So pretty cool stuff. Now, you're part of that family now. This past year, we had 46 bachelor's degrees earned by former RAHI students. We only had 42 students in RAHI, 46 during last year, and 42 in the program. We also had 8 master's degrees, 1 law degree, another PhD. We now have 486 bachelor's degrees, 5 PhDs, 119 masters, 9 law degrees, on and on and on it goes. But now it's your turn. What are you going to do? I need Greg Owens out there to step up and be the improved version of me. You know, it's your turn to step up and lead. You make all those little moves. The big moves take care of themselves. For those of you who have suffered through a few of these talks, I always like to end with a little verse from a book you probably have heard. I do admire you. I remember being in high school. Last thing I wanted to do in high school was go to school during the summertime. I thought, summer, I got to get out and hoot and holler. And my daughter, who's a kindergarten teacher, right across the hall from where my wife used to be, she said the other day, first day of school, August 12th. I'm thinking, my gosh, today's July 12th. And you delayed your gratification, and you decided, I'm going to make that little move so that when I make my big move, I am ready to rock. So the verse, any of you familiar with the Berenstein Bears? Of course. Well, I used to read this one to my children as they were growing up in the springtime when we were all getting tired of school. Hooray, hooray, you're on your way. Your summer vacation starts today. Congratulations and good job this summer.
How do you top that? Okay, next on the program, we will be recognizing the RAHI valedictorians and salutatorians. And we broke it up into the traditional RAHI program, valedictorian, salutatorian, and then just one for the RAHI research. And these students were told last night about 5 or 6 o'clock at night, so they had like 12 hours to do a speech. So some of them were printing it out right before they started here, because we broke up the computer lab in the dorm and the printer, and there's all sorts of issues, so they ended up running up to the office. First one is Kastyn Lie. So I'm going to read. She's the RAHI valedictorian. She's from Nome. She's also a volleyball player. And so I'm going to read something from her application, so it's word for word. This is her quote. To be chosen as a RAHI student, one has to have the ability to be intelligent, determined, a leader, and a positive member of their community. So yes, you obviously have these traits. Kastyn is very involved in volleyball and a key player on the Nome team. This is a quote from teachers in Nome. As a sophomore, she was asked to be their captain. Tonight, right after the banquet, she flies to Spokane to participate in a volleyball skills camp. Recommender state, she has natural talent and an extremely prominent work ethic. She's very artistic. She's a strong communicator, extremely athletic, caring about her peers, and values time with her family. Again, quote, Kastyn is one of the most gifted students I have had the privilege to work with as a teacher. She's always diligent and meets deadline. Kastyn Lie.
Hey guys. I should probably be more formal, but I'm really nervous. So, hey class of 2018. I'd like to start off by giving out some thank yous. Thank you to my parents, Eric and Crystal Lie, who are hopefully watching this right now. Hey guys. Without you, I wouldn't be here right now. Literally. But you two have always pushed me to do my best, and I'm extremely thankful for that. Thank you to all the RAHI staff, faculty, and teachers who took the time out of their summers to hang out with all these crazy and probably really stink teenagers. Props to you guys, wherever you're sitting. I'd like to give a special thank you, shout out to everyone's homie G, Mr. Greg Owens. You're the best math teacher I've ever had. If it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't have figured out that I actually kind of like math.
Don't say that too loud.
Thank you to, stereotypical thank you. Thank you to all my fellow RAHI students who have made this summer unforgettable. I know everyone says that, but I truly mean it. And just in case y'all don't believe me, I'll give you a little example, but that's later on in my speech, because it's too good to have right now. Anyway, okay, so I'm assuming that this speech is supposed to have some sort of deeper and inspirational meaning, but I don't really see that happening. So, as a young girl, aka Unalaska, once said, I think I'll just go and have some pudding and wait for it all to turn up. It always does in the end, as long as it's pudding for extra effect, but it's not a time crunch. Okay, so hopefully that's the case, and I'm not just boring everyone for the next few minutes. But if that isn't the case, and I bore you, sorry in advance. Let's get started with the story. When a mom and a dad love each other very much, they send their kid to RAHI. No, just kidding. My RAHI journey began when my sophomore math teacher told me that I should apply. And I was like, okay, yeah. Don't know what it is, but sure. And looking back on it now, you probably shouldn't apply for something that you have no clue what it is. But it worked out pretty well for me, so I'm kind of happy about it. I came to Fairbanks thinking that I signed up for 6 straight weeks of school, which technically I did, all of us did. But RAHI is so much more than just school. This is a program that creates new opportunities, memories, and lifelong friends. But you guys obviously know that because we went through it together. But I felt the need to say that because I just want everyone here to understand how amazing RAHI actually is. It's cheesy, but it's true. I never would have thought that I would enjoy being surrounded by 40-something weirdos for an entire summer as much as I have. And yeah. In the beginning, everyone was a stranger, and coming here was a huge risk. I wasn't sure if I would make any friends, but if there's anything that I learned besides how to find the derivative of a curved line, it's that you should take risks. Overused, but once again, it's true. It was possible that I would show up here, fail my classes, make no friends. Did that happen? Yes. No, just kidding. No, I took a risk, and it paid off. All of us took a risk, and it paid off. And like every single one of you should be up here talking. I don't know why, but yeah, all of us accomplished something amazing. I mean, by the end of today, we're all going to be RAHI alumni, which is crazy. So I guess what I'm trying to say is go outside of your comfort zone and take risks. If you feel like you should do something, do it, and don't hesitate. unless that something's bad. Then do it. Actually, you guys can just live by Harry Styles' motto, treat people with kindness. Because if you're doing that, you're doing something right. Shout out to Harry Styles. Okay, so I've taken up enough of you guys' time, and I think I can show you what makes this RAHI class so unforgettable. But first, I want to thank the RAHI staff, faculty, teachers. Again, we couldn't have done any of this without you. And congratulations to the RAHI class of 2018. RJ, this one's for you.
No.
Get down, all of you.
No.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kastyn. Our next one is Lisa Tran. So I will also quote, Lisa's from Dutch Harbor or Unalaska, depending upon, I guess, which side of the bridge or something. I don't know quite what the difference is. Quotes from recommenders on her application. Lisa is a very bright and natural reader. She is one of the most independent students I've met. She's detail-oriented and accepts responsibility very seriously. Works with Alaska Youth for Environmental Action, Art Club, Business Professionals of America, Foreign Language Club, PEP Club, volleyball team, and started the Native Youth Olympics. Lisa's a phenomenal student with a deep understanding of the importance of education. Her excitement, positive attitude, and genuine joy for learning greatly enhances the culture of the classroom. She's one of the most honest and dependable students I work with. Thank you, Lisa.
My name is Lisa Tran, and I'm not a RAHI reject, Brian. First of all, I would like to thank the staff, faculty, teachers, and my fellow students that have made this summer memorable and impactful. RAHI has changed me for the better and has prepared me for life as well as college. Without this experience, I would not have met the life-changing people that I did, and I would not have gotten the college experience. Anyways, we did it at class of 2018. We graduated. In the 6 years we've known each other, great friendships have been created, our minds have been enriched, and unforgettable memories have been locked away. It was only 6 weeks ago that we met each other, but it was also 6 weeks ago that we became a part of each other's lives. Whether it was seeing Caitlin fall asleep in yoga, or hearing yodeling all throughout the halls all the time, it made all these 6 weeks special. In the beginning of RAHI, I didn't think that I was going to make friends. I did not get what RAHI alumni Jonathan Lee meant when everyone cried. We have gotten close with our family groups, as well as our TCs and friends, and have shared many laughs and cries. The time we have spent together has gotten us ready for the future, and that is the purpose of RAHI. But as we prepare ourselves for our future endeavors, I have 2 things to challenge you with, and that is be ready for change and live in the now. All our lives, we look to push plans, make excuses for asking out our crush, and overall just avoiding things that scare us. But are we truly living if we don't do things that make our hearts race? Are we truly living if we are scared to do the unpredictable? We have so much to adjust to, and we are constantly looking for a security, but we are too scared to change. Events, people, and even feelings change, and we have to be okay with that. As Kristen Canada said, the joy of life comes from our encounters with new experiences, and hence there is no greater joy than to have an endlessly changing horizon. Therefore, as we are all separating and going our different ways, we must take our memories with us and think back. But we never must be upset that it ended. Put yourself out there and see where it takes you. For all we know, it could lead to an experience as amazing as RAHI. Thank you.
one is Leanida Polushkin. She's the valedictorian for RAHI research, and she's originally from Voznesenka, or Homer more recently. Again, I'm reading from her application. She's a very motivated, self-directed student. In class and at home, she's always attending to her work and helping others. Her final year of high school, she's very self-directed in a number of online classes, finishing very strongly. Leanida is our first student in about 5 or 6 years that was able to return for a second time. So last year she was in the traditional RAHI program. This year she was in RAHI research. And she showed that we chose wisely in bringing her back a second time. She intends to become a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and I'm sure she will do so. Leanida.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here today to help the class of 2018 celebrate their successes. Also, thank you for bearing with me through this speech. I know it must be absolutely painful. Let me begin by saying that I had no idea I was going to be standing here today giving this speech, given that I was sitting here in these seats last year watching Anna Stringer give this speech. I didn't think that it was possible for me to return here. But in February, I decided, why not reapply? What's the worst thing they could say is no? And well, they did say no. And I wasn't surprised at all. But I was surprised when Denise emailed me in the beginning of May telling me that there was a spot open for me in RAHI research if I wanted it. To be honest, I was quite upset that I got invited since I had already accepted my rejection and made some summer plans. But I was only upset because I knew this was an opportunity that I could never say no to, which meant I had to say no to all my previous summer plans. Now I'm standing here today, with all of you ready to accept whatever life has to throw at us. I mean, it already threw 37 strangers into my face, and that's normally a lot more than I can handle. But we all put up with one another and always gave people second chances when they didn't impress us the first time. Everyone here has a heart and personality that made my day, every day for 6 weeks. Every hello, every good morning, every good night, and every small smile only made my day brighter. While you may have thought that these small actions didn't mean much, they meant the world to me. I would like to thank Denise for everything she's done for everyone here. Thank you so much for caring about us and taking care of us behind the scenes, always in the office making sure things go smoothly. Also, thank you to the RAHI staff for putting up with all 38 students every day. Thank you, Greg Owens, and all the other teachers here for giving us more work than we thought we could handle. You pushed us to our limits, and I'm glad you did. And Dr. Duffy, thank you for all your movie references and crazy comments that threw us off guard. That did the tree, my fellow peers. Most of all, I'd like to thank all the students here for their constant support, especially the RAHI research. I would never have gotten this far without your help in chemistry. Thank you, Sadie and Fisher, for explaining all the chemistry terms to me like I'm a first grader. Those formulas really got me. Also, I can't even express how grateful I am that you two were there for me through my hardest days. I honestly don't think I would have made it without you. Another special thanks goes out to my family group and my mom, Antonina. You're an amazing mother, although you're not so good with snails. Maybe you should ask Logan for some advice. He seems to be wonderful in that area, considering he got swimmer's itch. Overall, tomorrow I will be leaving this program, not only with college credits under my belt, but with knowledge, experiences, friends, and even family. Thank you all for participating in my journey through RAHI. I hope that I have made a dent in your lives because you all surely impacted my life and my heart more than I like to admit. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanida. Our next will be Amy Wall, and she's the Rural Admissions Counselor with the Offices of Admissions at the University of Alaska, and she's going to make the UAF tuition waiver presentation.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to the class of 2018. I was doing the math, and this is actually my 7th year that I've been here doing this, and I love doing it every year. So we have 3 scholarships that we're going to award. The staff of RAHI put together a list for us, and so this is based off of the staff and who they thought were deserving of scholarships. We have 3 awards, and they are for $1,500 each for the University of Alaska Fairbanks. The first one goes to Logan Ito.
All 3, JR, to stand there? Sure. Yeah. So stay there, Logan.
The second award goes to Lisa Tran. And the third award, and I apologize, your name is spelled wrong on the certificate, and we will get a new copy with the correct spelling to you in the mail. All my fault. When I sent the email to our person who does this, I actually left out a letter. Kastyn Lie, or Kastyn Lie.
Group photo of you.
3, 2, 1.
Congratulations.
We have one more award, and for me it's a special one, in that it's the Kastyn Lie and John Kakarik Award. Kastyn Lie came in, I think, 1989 from Shishmaref, and she's a RAHI alum. 2-time, like Debbie and others were able to when we had a little more funding. And she also came back later, and she worked in the dorm as dorm staff. And now she's a lawyer in Anchorage, and she's worked for a number of different organizations. She received her undergraduate degree from UAF and got a law degree from Yale. Presently, Kastyn, John, and family do live in Anchorage, and their daughter Brianna, about 3 or 4 years ago, was a RAHI too, so we have mother and daughter. This award recognizes students who were chosen by their peers as someone who is a good citizen in the dorm, who they feel comfortable asking for assistance. It also recognizes those students who exemplify Kastyn as a student in RAHI and later at UAF, and now as an alum. She gives back to RAHI financially each year. That's where this funding comes from. Kastyn is spunky, as she sat in Greg's office many times working out math problems. A lot of people do. She's tenacious, fun. She helped others academically, socially, culturally. She was the director of the Festival of Native Arts twice, including once when she was very pregnant with her first daughter, who was a RAHI. She persevered to direct the very fine festival. They were unable to attend, but this award is given because of the donations Kastyn, Alana, and John Kakarik have made to the program. So this is your voted upon by other students. So we call it the Students' Choice Award. And there are, if you could, I'll call your name if you could come up, and JR is going to take a photo, and I'll give you a certificate. My understanding is you can use this at any University of Alaska campus, but you can't take it otherwise. So the first one is Claire Mueller. You're the first one, and you get $2,000. The second one is Olivia Jewell. This is for $1,000. The third one is Edith Spear. It's also for $1,000. And the last one, also for $1,000, is Robbie Strunk. So we're going to get a picture.
3, 2, 1, and get closer.
Thank you. Now I'm going to introduce Miss Debbie Nikiana, 1992-93 alum. Over 20 years ago, there she was, sitting in the U, never dreaming she would be the speaker. I've known Debbie since she came to RAHI as a high school junior ready to enter her senior year. Since then, she returned for the second summer. Plus, I know Debbie and her family from Onotuvik, including Anuli's dad, John Jabithlik, Debbie's grandfather, and my father-in-law knew each other back in the 1950s, as I described in my master's project, the Union Chapel in the Mountain. Pretty cool story, connection, so, years. And her mother Mary's a good friend of mine, too. Sister Gladys is a RAHI alum. I'll let Debbie describe her busy life these days.
Well, I wasn't planning on describing my busy life, but I have 3 children. It looks like one has been taken out. I have one big one sitting right there, and then I have my little one back there. And I just returned from the University of Alaska Fairbanks as the Student Success Coordinator with the Department of Alaska Native Studies and Rural Development. And you guys have done a great job of sitting here for as long as we've been sitting here, so I appreciate that. I timed myself because I remember my RAHI graduation, and I was so tired of sitting there waiting for us to get done. All I could think about was the ice cream that was melting. So I'm going to try to get through this really quick. Short message, a few little stories about me and my roommate, who I'm glad is here. And then maybe we can confer degrees and then go get that ice cream. So I wrote down just a few things so that I wouldn't stray off the path for a long time and be up here for the next 20 minutes. But I do want to say congratulations. I am really proud of every single one of you, and I realize how old I am because you all look adorable. Once upon a time, young people did not look adorable. But you accomplished what I consider, this camp that has kicked brain cell butts since the 1980s. That's something that I was thinking about. As soon as Denise had asked me if I would come and be the speaker, I Googled Greg Owens. His speeches are always amazing, like you guys saw. They're always fun to listen to. So I sat and I listened to the past couple years' speeches. And he always talks about the Berenstain Bears. So I was in 1992 and 1993. I managed to wake up on time and attend classes for 6 weeks in 92 and then for 8 weeks in 93. That's how it was. I battled the algebraic equations that have absolutely never made sense to me and still does not, and learned how to be a successful college student from the study skills class that they still have. No yawning. Back then, we didn't have the super cool classes like you do now. We had swimming and I think maybe an aerobic exercise that we could go to. So that was fun, but not as fun as the classes you guys have nowadays. We also didn't have process tech. We were able to choose between business, education, engineering, and I'm sure there was a 4th one. I don't remember what it was. But I chose business. And I learned at RAHI that business was something that I was not good in, and that I should not get into making my own business. So that was really helpful. My summer education, just like yours, was not just about academics. We didn't go off and do all the amazing things that you guys do nowadays, but we were able to have our own fun. I did learn how not to tip a canoe in a lake, like maybe some people did. I learned how to run straight after you went on the little dizzy thing on your forehead during the Olympics. And I also learned how to have fun and be silly with my family during the skits that we did during camp, which I'm sure you guys did. I also learned that I was resourceful. My roommate and I, Elizabeth, who's sitting right back there in a purple shirt, who I haven't seen for a while, she and I were resourceful. You have cell phones, which is super amazing. I mean, I have a cell phone too, but you have cell phones that are super amazing, and you're able to communicate with each other all the time. We didn't have cell phones, so we had to be inventive in regards to how we were going to communicate with each other after lights out, because of course we weren't going to sleep, right? Who went to sleep during lights out? Nobody. Okay. So once upon a time, there were these things called CDs. I don't know if CDs exist anymore, and you probably don't know what a CD is. But we had these CDs. And we were able to, Elizabeth's sitting there back there laughing because she remembers, we had really good friends right across the hall from us. And after 11 o'clock, we were still awake, and we wanted to communicate with them. We wanted to know, what are you doing? What are the answers for a math test? What are the kinds of things you're going to do tomorrow? So we would write little notes. We'd stick it in a little CD case, and we'd look under the wall, the door, and we'd squish it under there as fast as we could.
Yeah.
Dude, we're smart.
That's why you came to RAHI.
There we go, that's why I was at RAHI. Back then, I don't know if the TCs do this now, but back then the TCs would march the hallways. I'm like, seriously, make sure nobody left their room. We couldn't even breathe under the door, or they would know, and we would get in trouble. So we were very careful, we'd listen, we'd kind of watch out for the footsteps, and then whoosh, there goes our note. We'd sit and we'd wait for the note to come back, of course. And we had really good friends across the hallway that we were able to do that with for a while. We were on the 3rd floor. Boys were on the 2nd floor. We had really good friends right beneath us. So we decided one night that we were going to see what they're doing, because we wanted to talk to the boys. So we tried to figure out how are we going to communicate with them, other than maybe stomping our feet, which is really difficult because everything is concrete anyways here. And so we took the screen out of the window. Big no, don't do that. And you probably don't know these days, but we used to have these spray bottles that would spray our hair, because that's what we had to make our hair flat with after we put a lot of hairspray to fluff up our hair. And we took the shoelaces from our shoes, so we had as many shoelaces as we could, tied it to that water bottle, got a little note, and taped it down there. What are you doing? And we started lowering it down the window to their window. We tapped on it very quietly, and we'd sit and we'd wait. We wouldn't look out the window, because TCs would also walk around the building to make sure none of us were looking out the window after 11 o'clock. Which I'm sure one of them at least saw the water bottle one time and wondered, that's interesting. Why do they have a water bottle hanging out of their window? But it's a whole other story. Sometimes we pull up the water bottle and we get awesome little notes. We're just sitting here, what are you doing? They wrote back to us. But sometimes we get a note that said, leave us alone. Those boys know who they are. So, like it sounded like during this RAHI, we also, we had lots of laughs. We had arguments. We had tears. Some of us wanted to go home more than others. And, but we had this major love for each other. We got this bond like there's no other. Liz and I have fought 20 million times, but we still have a RAHI bond. So over this bond, we decided to give each other nicknames. And I don't know if you guys gave each other nicknames, or in your communities you give each other nicknames. I know in my village we all have nicknames. But this particular year, we had a professor who thought he was really slick. And I think it was during our writing midterm that we got about 4, 5, 6 pages. And he said to us, the only thing he said to us at the beginning was, read your instructions. Sure. I'll read your instructions. Watch this. So everybody, all of us started our midterms. And about every 3 or 4 academic question, there was a strange request. Liz might remember this. The first one on there was, drop your pencil and say, bad pencil, bad pencil. Everybody was doing it, so I guess I'll do it too. Drop my pencil, bad pencil, bad pencil. Come back to work. So over the course of an hour, there were all these different things that we had to do. Turn your chair backwards in the classroom. Put your chair back to forwards. At the very end, the very last request was, get up on your chair and cluck like a chicken.
Yes.
Thankfully, I had about 2 brain cells back then, and I went back and I read the directions. What in God's name does the directions say? Do everything on here that's academic and ignore everything that has a strange request, because that's going to show us who read the directions. Good job, Debbie, good job. We had one young lady out of 60 or 70 of us that ended up not reading the directions, and poor Miss Angela got up on her chair, got her little arms out, and to this day, I still call her Cluck. Cluck became her name. And to this day, I still read the directions for everything. Another thing that I learned during RAHI was time management and time orientation. In my village, I don't know if it's the same where you're from, in my village, when we say the feast is at 5 o'clock, that means you start to get ready at 5 o'clock. That doesn't mean you're at the gym at 5 o'clock, right? And it might be at certain places, some of your places. So at RAHI, I thought when they said class was at 8 o'clock, that means you get up at 8 o'clock and you're there by about 8:30, 8:40. Not the case. Class starts at 8 o'clock. So that was one thing that was a painful thing for me to learn. One evening, I'm going to share a quick story about Liz and I. One evening in '93, we decided we're going to walk down to McDonald's because I'm from a small community. We have now probably about 300 people. Back then, maybe 150 people. And McDonald's was amazing. I needed the fries, I needed a Big Mac, I needed a Coke that was like 90 cents. So we walked down to McDonald's because we could do it like that. When our second year, we could do that. We mosey on down at the village pace that we have. We order our food, we eat our food. By the time we realize what time it is, we have 3 minutes to get back to campus. Ooh, she's sitting back there laughing. My heart still hurts thinking about it. There were no cell phones, so what are we going to do? I don't know where in God's name we found a quarter, but we found a quarter, and we used the payphone, which I'm sure none of you have ever used. At McDonald's, you have, good job, at McDonald's, and let them know that we're going to be just a tad bit late. So that was another important lesson on time management and time orientation. So on a serious note, let's use what you've learned here at UAF the last 6 weeks to make a better future for our communities, for ourselves, for our state. Be the leader in your school that we expect you to be. For those of you who are returning home to be seniors, those of you who are going on to college and be freshmen, use the tools that you learned here. Remember that you have to study. Remember that you have to moderate your own time and you have to be careful and take care of yourself. The Xbox is not something that's going to be your best friend in college, okay? Or PS4 or whatever the heck they're called.
Same.
Study smart, play hard, just like in RAHI, and eat your vegetables, okay? It's really important. RAHI produces teachers, lawyers, doctors. Denise had gone down the whole list of all the people that have come from RAHI and the amazing things they're doing today in Alaska. Education has got a lot better in rural Alaska compared to when I was in school. When my father went to school, he was beaten at a boarding school for speaking his Inupiaq language. When I was in high school at home, a teacher told us constantly, "Why are you trying to do good in school? You are nothing but an Eskimo, and Eskimos don't ever do anything with their life." He constantly reminded us that we would never amount to anything, that the men would beat their wives, their children, and we as girls would stay home and have children. When I finished my master's degree, I sent him an invitation. I wanted him to know that no, I was not one of those girls that he talked about, and I wanted him to come and see it. I didn't hear from him. So anyways, I like your motto, be the change. I love that, those 3 words, I love those 3 words. We need more responsible and culturally responsive teachers, pilots, political science people in Alaska, just to name a few. If there's something happening in your community that you don't like, do something about it, okay? Don't sit there and hem and haw about it, complain about it, and act like you got nothing to do about it, okay? Do something about it. Come back to college, continue college, get the education that you need, and then apply that education so you can be the change. One last thing. I would like to end with a quote from my son. Whom I love to pick on, even when I was his teacher. Who has taught me how much of a pain in the butt it is to raise a teenager. Sorry, Mom, I love you. When is this due? Inuli and his famous words, when is this due? I would ask him to do the dishes. What time are you going to be home? So basically, when is it due? Would you go feed the dogs? So are we talking like now, or are we talking about like before I go to bed? He always wants to know, when is something due? For me, change was due yesterday. Change is due today, and change is going to be due tomorrow, okay? And you guys are the change. That's why I like your motto so much. So be the change, and I look forward to seeing what you each do in the future. Thanks.
Before Greg comes up here, just a little bit of housekeeping rules. We'll be handing out the diplomas, and then afterwards they'll be throwing their hats and enjoying the fact that they're graduating. Then they, as a group, will be having their official photographer take some photos of them. So it'll be about 10 minutes before your child or your cousin or whoever is here will be joining you in the ice cream social. There's lots of ice cream, which they know, and they will get it, but give them about 10 minutes to get their official photo taken, because yesterday it was raining quite a bit. So again, the photo and the ice cream social, and then there's posters out there that you can look at. So I'm going to turn it over to Greg.
You will notice there are 2 types of cord students have. The yellow cord is for the academic honors 3.5 or higher. And some students have blue cords, sort of a baby blue. That's citizenship honors, and that's voted on by the faculty and staff, and naming those students as exemplary citizens. I think we're ready. Are we ready here? First row, please rise and come forward. Marissa Acharian from Chivak. Dina Marie Belgard from Utqiagvik, Academic Honors. Olivia Carroll from Cordova, Academic and Citizenship Honors. Sarah Coleman from Utqiagvik, Academic Honors. Justin Custer from Shungnak. Samuel Danao from Ketchikan, Academic Honors. Caitlin De La Rosa from Nenana. Sydney Earnshaw from Dutch Harbor, Academic Honors. Danielle Epchuk from Queethluck, Academic Honors. Angelica Furman from Galena, Academic Honors. Fisher Gandel from Kodiak, Academic Honors. First row, please be seated. Second row, please rise and come forward. Sharon Hansen from King Salmon, Academic Honors. Solomon Himmelblum from Kodiak. Logan Ito from Dillingham, Academic and Citizenship Honors. Jacob Aya from Savunga, Academic Honors. Jalen John from Kungilingak. Cassidy Jones from Chivak. Olivia Jewell from Healy, Academic Honors. Amber Kannock from Bethel. Breland Kiefer from Nenana, Academic Honors. Sydney Canine from Unalaska, Academic Honors. Kastyn Lie from Nome, Academic Honors. Second row, please be seated. Third row, please rise and come forward. Tyrell Lincoln from Anaktuvik Pass. Claire Mueller from Utqiagvik, Academic and Citizenship Honors. Rosalind Nose from Akiachek. Chelsea Oberly Lozano from Ninilchik, Academic Honors. Jessica Peterson from Mountain Village. Katie Pulte from Pilot Station. Leanida Polushkin from Homer, Academic and Citizenship Honors. Elizaveta Rutov from Homer, Academic Honors. Sadie Sands from Dillingham, academic honors. Jaylyn Shutters from Gamble, academic honors. Edith Spear from Utqiagvik, citizenship honors. Robert Strunk from Quinnahock, academic and citizenship honors. Third row, please be seated. Fourth row, please rise and come forward. Matea Tooley from Shavunga. Yanuli Tupitluk from Anaktuvik Pass, academic honors. Lisa Tran from Dutch Harbor, academic honors. And Kiara Villamore from Dutch Harbor, academic honors. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2018 graduating class of the Rural Alaska Honors Institute.
Thanks for coming to the graduation.